On silent. Welcome to Karaoke Live. Come in and say hi. You know we're gonna have a good time every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome everyone to our Homeless on Christmas episode. Little girl is sitting beside your window. She's another year older and she's barefoot in the snow. Looking in on your Christmas dinner and the presents around the tree. Little girl wondering, why can't that be me? Poor little girl, I know you just want a home. Scarf, shoes, or a jacket under the Christmas tree in a place you call your own. And all around you the people come by to everywhere. You sit all alone and cry during the best time of the year. They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer. They're still homeless on Christmas, people with no place to go. People with no families and no love to show. There's an old war veteran on the side of the road. He's begging for your spare change 'cause the government just foreclosed his home. And the country he worked so hard to defend now passes him by without a second glance. Poor war veteran, I know you just want a home. Scarf, shoes, or a jacket under the Christmas tree in a place you call your own. And all around the people welcome back to everywhere. And you sit all alone and cry during the best time of the year. They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer. They're still homeless on Christmas, people with no place to go. People with no families and no love to show. Hello everybody and welcome to Karaoke Live Friday Night Live. What you just heard was my song, Homeless on Christmas. Tonight is the Homeless on Christmas episode. And we are going to have a great show for you guys. We are broadcasting live from the Baltimore branch of the NAACP tonight. And I have not only songs, but a power-packed panel of Baltimore activists. In addition to the music and the panel, I'm going to be showing some clips from the two of the National Commission for Voter Justice hearings in which voting barriers specific to homeless people were discussed. I will also show my video for my song, Do You See Me As Human / Do You Know I'm Human? And read some facts about homelessness that are specific to Black women from the African American Policy Forum. And unlike most nights, tonight we are live on both Facebook and YouTube, but though I apologize to my Facebook viewers, but the YouTube live stream is going to be a little bit better, and if you guys want to check that out, search Botsy in the search bar, and where the third option is the blue circle. So, if you have any questions or comments during the show, comment them, and I'll be able to see them right here on my computer screen. And all of the songs sung tonight are copyrighted, and now that you know what's... And, okay, it should be back up, and let me switch the cameras around. Okay, and zoom in some. Okay, it should be back up. The live stream was still up on Facebook, so if you missed any of it and you're watching it on YouTube, I apologize, but you can go to facebook.com/therealbotsy and watch the rest. So, and also, if you guys like anything specific that was said during the show tonight, be sure to post or tweet about it using the hashtag #BmoreUnited and the hashtag HomelessNotInvisible, which is Christina Flowers for the Real Care Providers hashtag that she uses, and they just launched their movement here in Baltimore. And a big thanks as well to the Baltimore City NAACP branch of the NAACP and Christina Flowers for... Well, Christina Flowers helped me organize it, and the NAACP Baltimore City branch is hosting tonight. That's where we are broadcasting live from. So, yes, I'm back in Baltimore. And so special thanks to them, and big thanks to them, and especially Christina Flowers, who's out there every single day working hard in the streets. I never saw her when I was homeless, but I wish I had, because it would have showed me that somebody was out there actually doing the work and actually caring. So, the next song is Good Samaritan, and it's one of my songs here that are in my notebooks, and I wrote this song while I was homeless. Actually, homeless on Christmas, which I sang in the beginning of the episode, which I hope you guys got to see on YouTube. I also wrote I was homeless. So, let's see. Okay. Now, I haven't sang the song in forever, so I'm sorry if I sound like a dying cat in a blender, and feel free to comment if I did. Okay. What do you do when you've done all you can do? When you wanna give up, but you have to keep pushing through. And where do you go when there's nowhere left to go? When you're tired, desperate, hungry, and alone. Who do you trust when there's only enemies left? With the whole world against you, wishing you'll death. Or can anybody hear me screaming to the wind? Will anyone have a selfless heart and step in? You can be the one to save me from myself, and you can be the one that steps in to help. You could be that one in a million who I've never seen before. You could be that selfless heart who helps the hopeless heart be restored. Oh, have a selfless heart, be a good Samaritan. Oh, have a selfless heart, be my one in a million. Oh, have a selfless heart, please don't let the darkness win. And though I can't give much from me, I promise you love and loyalty. If you could just come and pull me from where I am. So have a selfless heart and be a good Samaritan. That was my song, Good Samaritan. Well, not the full song, but part of it anyways. I've got to restructure that song. So, okay. So I hope that everybody can see, and so I'm going to jump back onto the Wi-Fi here, because hopefully that issue was fixed. And make sure I can read you guys' comments. But, continuing on. A topic that isn't really discussed when talking about homeless people is the barriers homeless people face when voting. During the 2016 elections, I called numerous shelters in Baltimore and the Glen Burnie area, citing ballot initiatives that concern housing, and asked if they had a program to register their residents and those they assist to vote. Only one place said they actively registered those in their care, and another said they have it available. The majority were rude to me and hung up the phone, with a few people even laughing. These are the people that are supposed to be helping homeless people, and instead they were laughing about them participating in democracy. One year, at an event for voting rights, the church we were at was hosting a program and to house the homeless people of that city, and never even thought to invite America's most vulnerable voters to participate in the program we were having. Not only did they not invite them, but when I brought it up, they were very hostile. Like, it triggered me so much. You know, my boss had to sit there and calm me down, but it really did trigger me. And so to that end, to really focus people on, you know, that there's so much that goes with being homeless, and we're going to talk about more about that later with the panel, but I just want to show you some clips from the National Commission for Voter Justice's hearings. Two of the hearings, the one that we held in, Detroit, and that was the first one, and the other one that we held in Texas. And so I want to show some clips. They're only like 2 to 3 minute clips, and I have them pulled up here, and I'll zoom the cameras into the projector so that everybody can see them. And let's see. Nope, that's not it. Okay. So this is the first clip. Speaking here is Olivia Jackson. And I'm probably going to turn off this light and zoom in. You guys can hear it really well. I don't know how loud this is or how quiet the projector is, so we're going to find that out together. Or how non-existent the volume is. Let's see what the problem is. Ah, the projector's on mute. That's the issue. Okay, give me just 1 second. Technical issues. And have the remote right here. That's the problem. Okay, so this is all the way down, so we want to turn this projector up some. Alright, that should be good. I don't want it to be too loud for our viewers at home. Okay. I don't want you to miss the introduction of Olivia. So this is approximately 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 22 seconds in.
To be honest, how many of you have heard of the promote the vote ballot initiative before today? That says a lot. Now we are all informed, so we will come back to our Q's and A's for you definitely about this, but it's very important that you now know that there's a real need to get the word out about this ballot initiative and to make sure that people are aware of it. At this time, yes.
You said like
She's about to start speaking soon.
you said you submitted the language to the Secretary of State's office in January 22nd.
After he is done in just about a second.
You submit 315,000 signatures.
And please let me know how the volume is.
Well, those are for our board, our commission, our canvassers, and they have to approve. I'm attached to my information.
Yes.
The second last page is the actual language. There's 100 words that have to be submitted and approved by the state in order to appear.
So he's about to finish speaking, and then Olivia is about to speak.
They have to approve these 100 words. And again, you see them at the top.
But this is about the best place that I can find.
Petition. So once we approve that, and we get the green light.
Do you anticipate that being a problem with listing approved?
We never say anything is a
Not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
I guess my question is this an issue of making sure that you comply with the law, or is there a subjective analysis with approval?
Yeah, it's subjective, but certainly, first of all, there's a wording barrier, which we have to.
I still want to skip her introduction, but let me try to.
Accurately. We think that this captures everything that we're trying to do in our amendment.
My name is Olivia, so bear with me as I honestly will speak from my heart. My testimony will be coming from two perspectives. One of them being, I'm a young woman, I'm 24, so far in my young adult life, I've only voted twice. The second perspective is of me being a part of a new organization who's getting into the community and just noticing issues that I not only deal with, but other millennials deal with. So as far as me personally, as I stated, I've only had the opportunity to vote twice, and with those opportunities, it was truly a struggle. I don't have many people in my life where I'm able to truly speak about my rights in general. I don't know who my resources are. A lot of my peers who I'm going to school with and also have grown up with, they don't know what their resources are. And with that, I truly believe that's a form of oppression or maybe suppression for our voters' rights, because we are confused. You guys are so amazing. All of you currently are paving the way for us, but we can't do our due diligence if we don't know what our resources are and are able to utilize the tools that are available to us. The second thing that I noticed also being out in the community is that we do a lot of community service, and one thing that we've been focused on at the moment is youth homelessness, and I never realized how much that youth homelessness isn't accounted for. One thing we spoke about today is that 40% of votes in Michigan weren't accounted for because of issues with the ballots, but we can only imagine what that percentage is of young homeless voters that were able to vote. Who knows what that percentage is? So what I would also like to bring light to is that although homeless people of age are able to vote, they have a tumultuous time with the tools that they're able to use to be able to vote. For instance, I have a journalistic background, so I'm always looking at news interviews. So one thing that I've noticed is that although they have the right to vote, one thing that they said they're able to do is use whatever address that they're sleeping at as a form of identification. Now keep in mind, if you're homeless, what would make you think that this person will have a driver's license or a state ID, for one? Also with that, they said that they could, if that is applicable to that person, that they could use the address of a friend that they may be sleeping with, of a shelter that they may be staying with, and which sounds crazy enough, if unfortunately this person is sleeping out outside on the fourth line of the registration, they can describe where they're sleeping as if telling someone I'm sleeping outside by CVS is a great description for where they're laying. You can only imagine how much of an issue that is, and also in some ways degrading. Why would I want to, as a homeless person, describe that I'm out here on the street sleeping when maybe where I'm sleeping is a day-to-day thing. I may be sleeping somewhere on this street today, but later on in the evening I can be somewhere else. I have no permanent address. So that right there is an issue. Also with that, they don't have the resources. Some of these people who stay in shelters, they feel like the people who are organizing their shelter are a resource, but some of those people are just as oblivious to the tools as I am being a new loner. So what I'm hoping with today is that all of us, because all of us, we're family, regardless of if we know each other or not, we're family. We need to come together and pull all of our resources and continue to not only target the problem, but to come up with an amazing solution. Because all of us as millennials and elders alike deserve to have our voice heard, regardless of what our sleeping situation is.
That's right.
Thank you.
As an address to the homeless shelter.
Okay.
When I sit in the homeless shelter sometime back, as a matter of protest for it, we would sit there all night, confused the whole 9 yards, and they had got 6 in the morning, we can't sit all day, come back and see. But can you use that as a frame of reference of the address?
And that is the Reverend Jesse Jackson that's questioning.
Ordinance or law that seems.
And I'm aware of the time, and I want to get to our panel, so I just want to quickly show the next clip. And this was in Houston, Texas, hosted by the Houston Area Urban League. It's the National Commission for Voter Justice.
Thank you, and thank you for your time today. My name is Marilyn Brown, and I'm the President and CEO of the Coalition for the Homeless of Houston and Harris County. My agency serves as the lead agency for a collaboration of more than 100 nonprofit, government, and community partners working together under the brand name of The Way Home. The Way Home is the homeless response system for persons experiencing homelessness in Harris County, Fort Bend County, and Montgomery County. Our collaboration began in 2012, and since that time, we have successfully reduced overall homelessness by 51%. By moving more than 15,000 individuals from homelessness into permanent housing with wraparound supportive services. That's not insignificant based on what we're about to talk about. Certainly, on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the population we serve is at the bottom of that pyramid, striving for the most basic of needs, shelter, food, and water. Voting or registering to a vote is not a common request that I receive or that our case managers receive from our population while they are experiencing homelessness. The irony is that these most vulnerable citizens are often the ones that are most impacted, either positively or negatively, by decisions made by our elected officials. However, for the 15,000 individuals who are now housed, they are beginning to live safe, secure, stable lives and understand that some of the experiences they have had, either good or bad, were the result of political decision-making. However, just because our system has solved their homelessness, we have not solved the variety of issues that contribute to their homelessness. Although we generally assume that all persons who experience homelessness do so as a result of mental illness or substance abuse problems, data shows us that this is not true. Only 25% of the people who experience homelessness do so because of these two causes. Instead, 75% of the people who will experience homelessness in their lives do so because of an economic reason, such as a job loss, someone gets sick, they have no insurance, and they use up all their income, or they have no health care. In our three-county area, more than 37,000 individuals touched at least one homeless service in 2017. Not all of these ultimately fall into homelessness, but these are people that are living on the edge. They are one turn of bad luck or one disaster away from homelessness, as our community found out in 2017 when Hurricane Harvey hit. Working at the disaster shelter last year, I experienced firsthand the way the person without an address was treated differently than anyone else. Without an address, the volunteers working for FEMA originally refused to allow that person to register for FEMA eligibility. It took a call from me that had to go all the way to Washington, D.C., and the FEMA director for instructions to come back down to the workers at the disaster center that just because one line on the form couldn't be filled in and had to be left empty, that did not mean that person was not eligible to register, just like everyone else. Fortunately, from the government's perspective on this, the law was in place, as we've seen some others, but the practice was not. Now, I'm not sure that there is a way for those without an address to know where to vote if they are allowed to register, but the thousands of others just here in our three-county jurisdiction for the homeless system participating in the voting process still have barriers that are often too high to overcome. As I mentioned, since the majority of the people who experience homelessness do so due to economic reasons, and we know that once they are in housing, they still struggle to make ends meet, often working multiple jobs and cutting corners. This doesn't leave a lot of time to participate in other activities, including finding a place to go register to vote, or, as was mentioned earlier, taking the time off during the workday to actually go vote. Any additional barriers placed in their way, such as requirements around forms of ID that may be required, will further discourage their participation. I admit that of the many needs our clients have, I would guess that helping with the voting process is not probably high on the list of our case managers as they're working with his or her client. But I pledge to encourage voter registration drives at the apartment complexes or other gathering places where we know our population live and gather, in the hope that once registered, organizations such as yours can help eliminate the barriers that they will face on Election Day. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you so much.
Now, later in her testimony, she says that this is the first time that she's been working in, I think, about 30 years. That was the first time that people had asked her about voting rights for homeless people and had asked her to participate in something. And this was just 2 months ago. So in 2018, that was the very first time. So now we are going to transition to the panel portion so that we have a nice good half hour for it. And I'm hoping that Facebook and YouTube are both cooperating and that everyone is able to watch this. But before I do that, actually there's things right before we do that. Or the Do You See Me as Human video that is on our channel. And it would be under music videos. Or it should be here anyway. I know we have posted it. Okay, hold on 1 second. There's Hope, All of Me, Karaoke Live. Here it is. Do you see me as human, or do you know I'm human music video? So I want to quickly show you that while your attention is still on the projector, and then just a couple of facts from the African American Women Policy Forum, or the African American Policy Forum Twitter account about Black women and homelessness. And then on to the panel. Though YouTube might not want to work. Here we go. All alone, sitting here, waiting for you to come back to me. I'm all alone, sitting here, watching you test me. I have so much potential if I just had the chance. Need the opportunity to show who I am. To be someone special, leave a legacy. But instead I'm sitting here, another homeless person on these streets. Do you see me when you outside? Do you know I'm human? Do you see all the tears I cry? Lonely cold night on the streets again. Another night ahead of wondering if anyone will see me for who I am. That I'm intelligent, full of potential. And I've been circumstance all alone in this world. I'm trying to free myself, but I can't do it alone. I need your help. Ability just needs the opportunity. Wanna bring the Napoleon of my own legacy. But the circumstances decide my fate for me. This needs society to give me a chance. See who I could be, see who I am. See me as human. See me as human. See me as an alien. With my dirty clothes and uncontent. Think of me, her body odor. Gotta find this document, wash up there. I have so much potential if I just had the chance. Need the opportunity to show who I am. I could be someone special, leave a legacy. But instead I'm sitting here, another homeless person on these streets. Do you see me when you pass by? Do you know I'm human? Do you see all the tears I cry? Lonely cold night on the streets again. Another night ahead of wondering if anyone will see me for who I am. That I'm intelligent, full of potential. Set a bad circumstance all alone in this world. I've been trying to free myself, but I can't do it alone. I need your help. Ability just needs the opportunity. Wanna be Napoleon and run my own legacy. But circumstances decide my fate for me. Just need society to give me a chance. See who I be, see who I am. To see me as human. To see me as human. To see me as human. So much potential if I just had the chance. Everybody, this is my abandoned house. This is one of the rooms upstairs. There's a closet, window, and another window. One of my rooms. This is where I stayed for about. And the stairs. And down. Some door. Fireplace. I love that fireplace. Windows. My ceilings. What else? Let's try to take videos better. You know, videos if I want to. Another room, which we had to board up, because you could see into it. And what was supposed to be a bathroom, and what was supposed to be the kitchen.
I feel like I should go, like, you guys should go.
And this is the guy that came to rescue me when they decided to steal the.
See how I've been living.
Here's the door. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. One more thing, the closet. Another closet right here. And the basement, which I can't take you on a tour of. That's my basement. And that's how I was living for about 1 month. Okay, so we're gonna keep it trained on the projector now that the projector's back up again, and just read some facts about Black women and homelessness. Like I said, I was at the 2016 African American Women in the Law Conference, and since then, the African American Policy Forum has really began to focus on Black women who are homeless. So some of the facts that they've tweeted out are Black women sexually traumatized in the military are one of the fastest growing homeless populations. Faye Wilson Kennedy tweeted out Say Her Name, and if you don't know, Say Her Name was created by Kimberly Crenshaw, who runs the African American Policy Forum. Faye Wilson Kennedy tweeted out, Margaret Laverne Mitchell, killed 529.99, homeless, 5'1", and only 102 pounds. LAPD killed Mitchell, who locals called Mom, because she was holding a screwdriver when they stopped her to see if her shopping cart was stolen. Say her name, Margaret Laverne Mitchell, policing homelessness. And this last one, from the Twitter Town Hall, investment and long-lasting policy change such as affordable housing and housing assistance initiatives over shelter system. Remove laws and policies criminalizing homelessness such as loitering laws and destruction of homeless camps. Which, that's a really, really big issue. And I also wanted to show the 2016 African American Women in the Law Conference wasn't just a conference. It was also about, I'm not sure if you guys can see this well, but I'm going to read them. It was also about creating policy change. And these are the policies that we came up with. And I'm not sure how well you can see them, but I'm going to read them out to you. Ending the crisis of homelessness. Black women living on the street. We need a policy driven by directly impacted individuals, not brought in at the end of process. We need to collaborate with community organizers to connect them with high-level access. We need to start sharing political education and decision-making, removing silos. One of the best practices is housing first, not shelters. Rapid rehousing, then wrap services around them. Knowledge of housing policy, local, state, and federal. We need culturally competent counseling for directly impacted individuals. Education around what public housing is available in your community. We need to stop the criminalization of homeless. And these dots represent how many people thought like that was a major issue that should be focused on. And so the majority of people really thought stopping the criminalization of homeless people was a huge issue that really should be focused on. And we need to develop people-centered housing policies and practices. And what that means is we need to stop saying you need to be in at 5 p.m. or else you can't be in here. Or we need to stop kicking people out of shelters for little stupid reasons. Maybe they didn't make it in time. Or I know for me, one time I was in one of the best shelters in the area here when I first became homeless again in 2016 actually gave me a spot and said that I could be in it. However, I was in school at the time, and because I couldn't make the curfew because I took public transportation, they wouldn't let me in the shelter and instead told me I had to quit school or I couldn't be in the shelter. Which, of course, I chose instead to just live on the streets and not go into any shelter. But now I do have my associate's degree in paralegal studies. So I am proud that I made that decision instead. So now that we've gone through all of that, we're kind of going to switch over. So I'm going to direct the cameras at something pretty while we switch over. And in case you missed it at the beginning, I'm going to sing Homeless on Christmas. So I'm going to turn off the projector here. And, yeah. Okay. And we're going to direct you all towards something pretty just while we turn around and get to our panel. So bear with the darkness just for a second. Y'all should still be able to hear my voice though. And I'm going to direct you all towards, okay, let's see. You guys can see? I almost ended the live video. So Facebook, once again, is going to be a little bit more difficult for you guys because I don't have the projector or I don't have the tripod set up for you. But I'm hoping that this will do it. You can still see the beautiful flyer that was made by Keith Montgomery. He's also local here in Baltimore. Or Designs by Keith. Go check him out. He makes all the flyers and is the associate producer for the show. And alright, YouTube, now I'm moving you guys over to also look at the flyer. And, well, kind of. Okay, so there's the flyer for, and while we're setting up, I'm going to sing so you guys can still hear my voice, so you guys still know that things are going on. Let's see. This tripod's been a little weird lately. Like, one of the things wants to be, like, really little. Okay, there we go. So, there. Okay, I'm going to sing Homeless on Christmas while we set up. And those are the panelists right there. And, okay. Little girl is looking inside your window. She's another year older and she's barefoot in the snow. Looking in on your Christmas day with the presents around the tree. Little girl wondering, what can that be me? Poor little girl, I know you just want some scarf, shoes, or a jacket under the Christmas tree in a place you call your own. And all around you the people come by to everywhere. And you sit all alone and cry during the best time of the year. They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer, they're still homeless on Christmas. People with no place to go, people with no families and no love to show. There's an old war veteran on the side of the road. He's begging for your spare change, cause the government just foreclosed his home. And the country he worked so hard to defend now passes him by without a second glance. Poor war veteran, I know you just want some snap shoes or a jacket under the Christmas tree in a place you call your own. And all around you the people come by to everywhere. And you sit all alone and cry during the best time of the year. They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer, they're still homeless on Christmas. People with no place to go, people with no families and no love. They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer, they're still homeless on Christmas. People with no place to go, people with no families and no love to show. They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer, they're still homeless on Christmas. People with no place to go, people with no families and no love to show. They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer, they're still homeless on Christmas. People with no place to go, people with no families and no love to show. They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer, they're still homeless on Christmas. People with no place to go, people with no family and no love to show. You guys know the song yet? They're still homeless on Christmas, year after year. In the spirit of giving, spirit of Christmas cheer, they're still homeless on Christmas. People with no place to go, people with no family and no love to show. Let's see. Okay, let's see. And I'm just trying to set up the live stream for Facebook as well, which is the one that's being problematic now, because technology. So, and thank you guys who are watching on YouTube. Let me see if I can pull up your comments here for a second. Okay. All right. And then just trying to set up Facebook, and then we will get to the panel. I apologize, guys. The restream process that you all saw me practicing last night didn't actually work. When I played it back, it sounded really bad. So, yeah, this is my solution. I just want to make sure we get all my panelists in there. Okay. I think that'll be good. Okay, come on. Just stand. Just all you gotta do. Alright, so Facebook, I hope it looks good. But I know this part it might look better on YouTube, so if you want, you can go check it out on YouTube. Because I know the stream there looks better because I don't have 2 tripods, I only have 1. So, okay. Hello guys. I've been here the whole time. But hello, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Yeah, let's scooch in closer. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining me. So, now it's welcome to our
Everybody's doing good. Yes.
So we have Sunni Rahman. He's the outreach coordinator for the Real Care Providers and the representative for today, and the vice president of the Circle of Positive Black Men. We also have Biggs Montague. He's a peer specialist and business owner. And we have Travis Winkey there on the end.
Hi, how you doing?
He's the Baltimore fashion designer and the CEO of 24 Look. And thank you guys for all being here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What have you guys thought of the show so far? Has anything surprised you?
Well, it's a lot surprised me. You know, I've been in Baltimore all my life, but I'm from a family of 15, so I got 7 brothers and 7 sisters.
Wow.
And I've been even dancing in the world of fashion all my life, since I guess around 12 to 13 years old. And growing up, I've been growing up around homeless and gangsters and everything all my life. But I never, and the people used to tell me that years ago that I was one of those poor people because I had a big family and, you know, we lived in a small house on McCullough Street, a 2-story house, and at that time it was 13 people living in a little 2-story house with, I mean, very small. I never felt poor. I never felt poor. Other people were, but I never felt poor. My family, my mother and father always had food on the table for us. It's 15 of us and same mother and father, you know. So we never felt poor. We always felt that we were all right, you know. And there was homeless all around us, but I never felt homeless or poor. You know, we've always had clothes to wear, wore hand-me-downs, but they were still wonderful clothes.
Yeah.
And that went on, I mean, most of my life until I started working for myself. And I started my business, I guess, right out of high school. And I produce and direct fashion shows and teach modeling and everything I did was around fashion. But before that, I was a dancer. So, you know, I was go-go dancing in the clubs in Baltimore. And one of the ladies who knew all the gangsters, her name was Prissy, and knew everybody in terms of the gangster world. But she used to take myself and her sister and 3 or 4 of us, kids like us, and we were go-go dancers, and we'd go-go dance in the clubs or the casino nightclub on Pennsylvania Avenue. And she'd make sure we got paid, you know, all over town. So that was our start, you know. But being around homeless and not having a lot of money and all that, we still felt rich. You know what I mean? Because our parents always pushed us ahead.
Right,
And
that's a
we
big...
believe in ourselves, you know? So
That's a big thing to your parents, too, for never making you feel like you were
Right.
homeless or were in
right,
poverty.
right.
And what have you thought of the show so far?
Well, it was a good show, and I was really paying attention to, you know, the lyrics of what you were saying. And as far as me growing up, I never felt homeless because it was only me and my sister. And my mom would make sure that we never felt homeless, but I knew, you know, of homelessness in the city, but I never knew how they felt, you know, until I got older. And, you know, just the idea of having nowhere to go is, you know, it touched me still, like as of today, you know. And then to see from what you was, you know, was singing, to see a person, whether it's male or female, trying to still study. You know, I never looked at that. You know, I never
Yes.
looked at, you know, where you had a choice. You either was going to come in this shelter at a certain time, you know, or go to school.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a tough decision to make, knowing that you made the right decision because you was looking at, you know, down the line.
Yes.
So I never, you know, that really touched me. I mean, when you was saying that, because certain things that you know, that dealing with homes that you know, you learn every day. You know, that they are, you know, they human and they, you know, they function and think as we do. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's no different, you know, thought patterns where homeless think one way and people that's not homeless think another way. Everybody has goals and, you know, and want to reach those goals, you know what I mean? But some people, you know, just stuck, you know, and that I can't do it, I'm not going to do it, you know, I'm not going to go by these rules from what you were saying, you know, far as had to be in place. Because I used to always wonder, well, why is this person not going to the shelter? Why not? Because they had rules,
Yes.
which I never knew they had rules.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you can't smoke, you can't smoke, you know, in certain places, you can't stay out at this certain time.
Right.
You know, now later down the line, my mom ran, or let me say, was in charge of a shelter for years. And I used to go up there with her and help her out every now and then. And I would see in with my own eyes how things was. You know, where it was actual people can get sexually molested in there. You know, they still, you know, the little item that you do have,
Yes.
you know, is being stolen from it. So many things go on in a homeless shelter that people, everyday people that never experienced it, don't know what's going on. They don't know what you're going through. So for you to pull through, you know, from what I mean, hear and heard you sing, you know, made all the sense in the world. And it showed me that you was a strong individual to be able to, you know, to pull through that. Because that was, you know, a real serious task. And I applaud you for that, man, because, you know, everybody can't make it. Some of them just fall short by the wayside and just give up. But it lets you know that that you do have strong women that come from homelessness and be presidents of major companies. You know, and you would never know just by
Right.
looking at them. You know, a
Right.
person could look at you now and never would even think you was homeless. Never even
Right,
think
yeah.
you came from that era time.
Right.
You know, but that's the good thing. You know, you strived and you know, and you constantly strive and you ain't gonna stop. And that's a
Right.
beautiful thing, man.
Thanks. And what about you? What have you thought of the show so far? And has anything surprised you?
Yes, well, no big surprises because, you know, working alongside Minister Christina Flowers, you know, I'm getting firsthand, you know, in dealing with folks that are out there that's homeless. And again, you know, just as the brother said, I applaud you,
Thank
you
you.
know, for, you know, just holding on. Because a lot of times when we feel like we're slipping, we just got to tie a knot in that rope and just hold on to it. And, you know, there's folks out there that do want to end homelessness, and
Yes.
they just need that extra push. So we shouldn't position ourselves just to walk down the street or drive down the street and come out our little pretty houses and walk past folks who are just sitting on the steps or sitting on the wet ground up in the park who are homeless. We need to say a kind word or give them some kind of encouragement.
Right. Yes, that's so true. And so, Travis Winkey, why
Yeah.
don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your fashion design career and about, I know you've written a book in 2008, but that you're rewriting it, and that Muhammad Ali actually did the foreword for you.
Right.
So why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself and about your activist work and your career in general?
Well, I guess, you know, I'm really not a designer. I used to design when I was a kid. My first fashion show was in my backyard, and the alley was the runway. I had all the kids in the block to get their clothes together, their mother's clothes and some of their clothes. The parents used to argue with me sometimes, Charles, you have my child, they're tearing off the sleeves of their shirts and making them out of belts. Well, that was my way at that time of expressing myself. And then a friend of mine, Alvin, died some time ago, was one of my best friends. he used to have the hat going around and getting money from people. We were like the little rascals. I mean, that's how we made our little cash. But as I went along, I found myself better at producing and directing fashion shows, and that carried me on. And I got to the point where people knew me around town and at the dawn shows and that kind of thing. And that took me from Baltimore going in maybe to like Atlanta and up in New York doing shows in different places. After that, they started taking me around the world. I met a man in Bermuda. His name is Walter Green. And Walter Green still have a guest house in Bermuda. And the Green family, it's called the Green's Guest House. And he started introducing me to the international world of fashion and beauty pageants and that kind of things. And I started out with a contest called Miss Model International. And there were like 75 countries from all over the world, girls from 75 countries from around the world. And that got me on my way. And I mean, I've been in about 25, 30 countries in the world and never paid for it. But I always got a little something when I went to each country to work and to produce a show or a pageant or whatever. And that got me started internationally. So, and of course, going here in the United States, I did the Congressional Black Caucus show in 90 and 91, which the shows that we did was said to be two of the best shows for the Congressional Black Caucus, besides a person by the name of Dwight Byrd, who was really the person who started those shows being as great as they were. And I wanted to be like Dwight Byrd. It took me 10 years to get there to do a show like he did at the Congressional Black Caucus.
I've seen the Baltimore Sun has credited you with putting Baltimore on the map for fashion.
Yeah, in Baltimore. Yeah, I mean, I brought all kinds. I've met people from all over the world. Eileen used to come to my studio all the time. Susan Taylor, when she was the Fashion Essence magazine, I had her in Baltimore at least 3 or 4 or 5 times. I did a magazine, myself and a guy by the name of Mario Van Peebles, who's now a movie producer in Hollywood, and he does things. Well, he and I did a magazine for, maybe you can put up later on. It was called Travis, and we did that for like about 5 years, and that was like all over the world. That was before. It was really the first black fashion magazine in the country, fashion magazine.
Wow.
For blacks.
Wow.
And a guy by the name of John Blassingame in New Jersey was the producer and helped me to get that magazine together and produced. And we did it and went all over the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So it's a little something about Travis.
All right, thank you. And Biggs Montague, tell our viewers something about yourself and the work that you do, and just about your career in general.
Yeah, well, I'm into basically, helping people as much as I can, because I had stores, coming up in my time, barbershop stores, grocery stores, and my thing was serving the public, and that's what I have been doing, for the past, my past life, serving the public, and later down the line, after having public stores, it got to the point where when you get old enough, you can't keep, getting the penny candy, and it's down to the community center, and I opened my own community center, and that's when I really learned about, the neighborhood, I learned about, how, what you call the big wheels down City Hall, how they actually work and how, how you get, houses where we deal with the homeless now, and by me learning back there about housing, I got into the housing later on after the community center. But back as the community center, I knew my job was to get to the people that could actually help us. And at one time, back maybe a couple years ago, when Governor Hogan got in, I actually gave him, his first 2 years, I gave him a party at my community center. And I actually sit down face to face and, and talk with him and ask him about different things that, he could do to help, the neighborhood.
And did he take any of your ideas?
He did a lot. That's why I look at how he won, election over again, because, we done had a lot of, different, people in in those positions that I don't think that, really serve their purpose. But, I really studied him, and by me actually being close to him, I watched him real closely. I have been around him, not just, in the community center, but I have been invited to different venues, and I have, been in his circle. And I can understand how, society work now with the so-called big wheels that actually run, Baltimore City. So my thing was that, to see what I can get, through, the governor, the lieutenant governor, that can help the community. And when they came in and they actually, toured the neighborhood, looked at a few things that they can do to improve it, they did it.
And
You know what I mean?
I know you go into Baltimore City schools as well, don't you?
Yes, I went to Baltimore City schools to talk to the young kids, and the thing is to try to, I tries to get to them before they get out in the world,
Yeah.
and because a lot of them, like you said, is going to wind up, homeless if they don't do, what they supposed to do, and they are far, a lot of them is actually far gone to the point where they need, more guidance and more help in them city schools. I don't think the city schools give enough, they got enough help because they need help. Because a lot of them kids is actually, don't know what direction, don't know what they facing out there. Like, so as yourself, and they don't study and really get themselves together, they gonna wind up, the struggle either wind up in prison, but it's still gonna always boil down to the same thing. When you come out of prison, you still gotta get a job, you still gotta get education. It's good that some get education while they're in there, but a lot of them don't. So my thing is to go into school, which I did, and speak to the kids. The whole seminars to get them to understand, what they facing. As you get older, it get hard. Because when you come up in life, you don't have no bills. You don't have to worry about, who's going to pay the rent, who's going to pay the mortgage. You don't even worry about a bar of soap because you so used to seeing it. But when you have to stow up fist for yourself, it becomes a whole new ball game. Life become real now. I got to get out here, and make a way. Now, if you don't have no education, how you going to get a good job, to maintain and take care of your family or take care of yourself and help other people? And I believe in the more you help, the more you receive. So, my thing is to inspire as many people as I can on a daily basis. When I wake up, my goal is to inspire people, to do the right thing and, become somebody in the world. Because once they become somebody, they can help the next person.
And what about you, Sunni? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your activism.
I grew up in the city of East Baltimore. Just turned 58. And coming up, my mom's used to work for the school for the blind, so at times when she couldn't find a babysitter or afford a babysitter, I had to go to work with her. And through that, I learned sign language. So my passion for working with folks has always been, to get out there and close up front on the gun line with them. So I've always had a passion of working with folks, and the passion that I have today, working with the homeless, working with Minister Christine Flowers, Belvedere Houses, Real Care Providers, has just been, it's just, I look forward to going out 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, just to try to encourage folks to get up off the grounds, get up off the grass area, and, just encourage them and let them know that somebody do love them.
Yes.
So, I look forward to doing it. I get up, go out and take coffee, donuts, whatever it is I can get. I look forward to just going out there.
And I remember when I was homeless, we'd sleep in the park that's right near the block.
Yes.
One of the things on Sunday morning, some group would come and give us all some food, and that would mean so much because they actually came to where we were. And not that there's anything wrong with giving to organizations that, like the Salvation Army and such, but in my own personal experience, I never saw the Salvation Army. I never saw any of these so-called organizations that were supposed to be helping
Well,
people
a lot of times
that were there on the streets.
you'll see them around Thanksgiving and you'll see them around Christmas, but with the Real Care Providers,
You
We
guys
out
are
there
there every single
365.
day. Every day I see Christina Flowers
365.
on Facebook just
Yes.
every
Yeah.
single day.
365.
Yes.
And let me say something about that. You know, that's why, you know, I actually speak about, you know, Governor Hogan and Lieutenant Boyd, because they used to come to the center at least once, either once or every 2 months, with a truck load of food and drop it off to us to give to the community. I mean, and
That's
I
good.
thought that was spectacular, you know what I mean? And it was
Yeah.
like clockwork. You know, when the truck come, people was out there, because I'm not talking 1 or 2, I'm talking 4 or 5 trucks, I mean, full of all different kinds of food, and they would say, don't charge nobody nothing. You know, and to see the people line up at the community center, and, you know, and we giving them shopping bags of food. So
Yeah.
they would look forward, you know, to that, man. I thought that was the greatest thing, man. I mean,
And that goes to your own activism and your personal
Right.
relationship with Governor Larry Hogan, because
Mhm.
saying that, we don't know if he would have taken the time to care about Baltimore's homeless population.
right,
So
right.
it shows that individual people can move forward, and even, you know, it doesn't matter who's in office, you can still ask for a meeting with them and lobby for change.
That's right.
You
That's
don't-
right.
As I learned at the what's it called, the Kellogg's transformation and healing event that was held in December of 2016. I was just looking at my Facebook feed memories today, and that's how I was brought up to this memory. But you don't have to be a lawyer to change the law.
No,
Right.
no,
Or
no.
to influence
right,
people.
Right.
And my next thing that I want to talk about is something I mentioned to some of you earlier. I've come up with this term called the homeless mindset, which I describe as the PTSD that arises from any length of period of homelessness, and also the seemingly crippled state of mind you're in while experiencing homelessness. For example, when when I first became not homeless anymore, I still kept my stuff, the 2 times that, you know, I had come out of it, you know, one temporarily but one permanently, I still kept all my stuff in bags. And even now I have like just bags and bags of things. And I haven't taken them out of bags. And it's not until someone points it out that you realize, like, no, that's kind of crazy. When you go to a hotel, you should unpack your stuff. You shouldn't, why do you have all these bags in your suitcase? So that's like one of the things. It's like a form of PTSD, or the anger that arises because homeless people see the worst of humanity. We sit there on the streets and asking people for money, and oftentimes just get passed by as if we're not human beings.
Yeah.
And that can be so dehumanizing to people. I know a homeless person in DC, and he just gets really, really angry about it. And he lashed out, and he wasn't really lashing out at me, and he told me as much. It was just that, and he hadn't been homeless very long, but it was so traumatizing for him that he once had all of these things, and then they were just gone.
Yeah.
And my song, Homeless on Christmas, was actually written while I was homeless. And when I wrote it, I went around and knocked on people's doors around Christmas time, Christmas caroling. And sometimes I would sing that song, and I remember singing to a cab driver. He loved it so much. He has the first recording of it somewhere out there. It's the first recording, because he loved it so much. And but I went out there Christmas caroling for, you know, money for myself, and so my legs were like, and I had jeans on, were like beet red because it was so cold. And it's just, homeless people really do see like the worst of humanity, so that has an effect. And also, I tell people, don't ask a homeless person, when's the last time you ate? Ask them, when's the last time they had 3 meals a day?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Guarantee you that answer is going to be much, much different. When's the last time you had 3 meals a day? But the homeless mindset, it's so, because you can't really bring it out to somebody how much they're suffering while they're homeless, because we need to have the illusion that we're not doing as bad as we think so that we can push on. So this is kind of this phenomenon that I'm talking about. And so,
I mean,
Sunni,
sometimes
have you
we
seen
can.
the homeless mindset in action?
Oh yes, I see the homeless mindset in action each and every day, and society and the community itself, you know, makes it even worse because they're afraid to really reach out and shake their hand.
Right, yeah.
You know, give them a hug.
I make a point to try to give a homeless person a hug.
Yes, and you know, so we walk right past them. as if
Right.
they're just nothing.
As if they're nothing, yeah.
And you know, that gives them the mindset of when they up in them trash cans and digging for food, and you go to offer to them and they don't take it, because their mindset is like, where you going to be tomorrow. So they really try to get out there and fend for themselves, because some days folks just walk right past them.
Right, and that's why, like counseling for where after people are homeless or when they're experiencing homelessness is so important. It's a lot of things a lot of shelters don't do. And Travis, were you aware of this phenomenon?
Sure, I was aware of it. You know, coming up where I came up, you were always aware of it. When I got to the some point with fashion shows, we used to do fashion shows and raise money to give to people for on homeless, like Christina Flowers, and those kind of things. And also, we like during holidays, we'd always work in the, if there's a soup kitchen or wherever, we'd go there and have some of the models to just help, you know, give them food and fix the food for them, like on Christmas and New Year's, and different times like that. So we've always tried to do a little something, but you know that it's just not enough. You know, you have to find new ways and innovative ways to help people. And I found going into schools a lot, telling my story, you know, helps a lot. And I do that now. You know, telling my story and how we came up and what we experienced. And I've always experienced homelessness because there's always been homelessness.
Right.
So the way I find my way of helping them is through the work that I know how to produce and direct fashion shows. So we do that. We would always give back that way, and always have the models. Maybe at certain times they could go, and when they feeding the homeless and that kind of thing at churches or whatever, we would always go and try to help. So that was my way. Yeah.
You know, probably one thing Travis hadn't said, and I don't know if I ever said it to him, but when I didn't have a place to stay, Travis was the first one to reach out to me. So, you know, if I never said it, I like to say it now. But
You
I
said
appreciate
it
you.
because you told me. So you definitely
Yes,
said it.
and, you know, I do appreciate you for that.
Yeah, he was there for him.
We try to do that all the time, you know. And soon I became close, and there's a guy by the name of Norris State.